Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Frank Delano Show. Today, we have a very special guest, Tyler Davis. He'll be joining us today to talk about our midseason awards for the NBA, talking about MVPs, Rookies of the Year, so on and so forth. Tyler, it's so great to have you on.
Hey Frank, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so why don't we just jump right in? Who is your pick for the MVP so far this season?
My MVP pick right now would be Shea for sure. I know he's on top of that MVP ladder. I'm a big Thunder fan all my life, so it's been fun to watch him. He's clutch and just efficient. He does it every night. Um, I like Jokic too. I mean, he puts up some monster triple doubles, like seems like almost weekly. Just a beast. He's been doing it for a while, and I really like Tatum too. I think just
Mm,
because the Celtics have been so good, and he's just the best player on that team. So
yeah,
yeah,
I agree 100%. I just think that I don't see how they won't give it to Jokic just because he's averaging the same amount of points with the rebounds and the assists, and Shea just doesn't have those numbers. But I could see a world where they give it to Shea just because Jokic has been winning it so much, and it's just kind of the standard, and it's kind of boring to give it to him year after year.
and it
So I definitely could go ahead.
yeah for sure. I see. I mean, Jokic, his like stats say that he's better. I would say, but I mean, what the Thunder are doing, just like like they just win games, and that winning streak they went on this year, and just they're a fun team.
Yeah,
So
100%. Yeah, I
yeah,
feel like if you're talking like adds the most value, which is like what the actual award is, I would go Shea. But if you're looking at stats, which is often what people do, it's got to be Jokic. But
yeah,
I think Shea should win. I have no problem with Shea winning if he does.
yeah. Totally
So
agree on that.
then, yeah, for defensive player of the year, I just went Wemby because he's averaging 4 blocks a game and a steal a game. There's no one really close to him defensively. I mean, Lou Dort maybe, but yeah, I just don't see
Yeah.
anybody else in that, even in that conversation. What about you?
No, for sure. I agree. I mean, Wemby's just electric. His like shot blocking and just, I mean, you can't go in the paint on that guy. He's amazing. I think I had Dyson Daniels too. I know he's been playing really good with Atlanta, but
Hmm.
Atlanta, I know not the best defensive team, but his steal numbers and
Hmm.
he's really young. So I think both those guys,
Hmm.
Wemby and Dyson, are only 21. So it's like
Yeah,
two really young defensive players. It's been great. Yeah.
yeah. Wemby is just like an elite rim protector at this point, which is crazy because it's only his second year, and yeah, I mean, John Morant dunked on him the other night, though. It didn't count,
Yeah.
but
That was
he had
pretty
a
great.
pretty crazy poster, and then he
Yeah.
was like, uh, apparently Ja had said he wasn't dunking anymore, but I guess that wasn't the truth.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
for
yeah.
rookie of the year, I went with Jalen Wells from the Grizzlies. He's averaging 12, 3, and 1. He's from Washington State, but it would have been Jared McCain if he didn't get hurt. He was averaging crazy numbers for a rookie. But yeah, what'd you pick?
100%. I had Jared McCain if he was still playing as I feel like this rookie class has sort of been like a little weak from the years past,
Hmm.
and Jared McCain he was averaging like 15 points per game. He looked like the best player on the court at times, really. He was very efficient, but I like I like Wells and Edie. Both of them have been great rookies on Memphis and they're winning games. So it's great. If I had to pick a rookie to win it this year, just like my prediction would be Sar. I don't like Alex Sar. I
Yeah,
don't know, but he's been putting up decent numbers. But I mean, he's on a not a great team. So
I feel like he will probably come into his own more as the season progresses, as he just gets more experience under his belt. It's obviously always going to be like a learning curve when you come into the NBA, especially not coming from college basketball, coming from like somewhere else. And but yeah, it would have been cool if Jared McCain had stayed healthy because he was on track and he really could have helped out that Sixers team because
oh yeah,
I mean they're not
for
doing
sure.
anything, which is like it's crazy with the
I
amount of
know.
talent that they have. that they're this bad, which is
Yeah,
just it's disappointing because
honestly,
Maxi's
yeah.
great and young, and Embiid
Oh
is
yeah,
great and he's decently young. And if
yeah,
McCain had stayed healthy, he's young,
yeah.
and they
I
got
love
the guys.
Tyrese.
So,
Love. I was liking McCain. He was playing really well. It sucks that he got hurt. Yeah.
mhm. So most improved, I went with Cade Cunningham. He's up to 24 points from 22 points, 10 assists from 7 assists, and 6 boards from 4 boards. And I also think it goes beyond stats. He's really helped that Pistons team compete. I mean, they're actually good now, whereas last year they were just terrible. And I think they're in a play-in spot right now. If the season were to end right now, they just beat the Rockets the other day, who are good this year. And Cade has really been the driving force. Osar Thompson has been good, but when you really look at it, no one was really expecting this at all from this Pistons team, and they've really stepped up. And I think Cade has had a big role in that. What do you think?
Yeah, totally. Cade's been great. Yeah, they won like 14 games last year or something, and now they're at 20 already. So he's been
Hmm.
really good. Best player on that team for sure. He's improved a lot. I put Norman Powell as mine.
Hmm.
I live in LA now, so I see some Clippers games, and he's from last year. I mean, he's become one of their top scorers on that team without Paul George there. He's been really efficient from shooting and shooting threes. He's having a great season. So
Hmm. I also think kind of a more under the radar guy is Jalen Green. I mean, he's always averaged the scoring numbers, but this year on defense, he's been really solid. Ime Udoka has got all his guys playing really good defense, and Jalen Green has taken a step in that department too, which is great because his offense has always been there and will always be there. But
oh, for sure.
his if his defense is good, he can become like a great soon. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, you
that
said, do you like the Intuit Dome?
the Intuit Dome. Yeah, it's cool. It's strange. Like the seating's very strange,
They got
but it's cool.
the things on the seats, right, where you can like vote on stuff, the little
Yeah,
buttons.
yeah, you do. Yeah,
They
they
just had
do, and yeah, it's
a
very.
UFC event there last weekend.
Oh, did they? Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah,
for sixth man of the year, I went Peyton Pritchard. I think he's the odds leading in every app. He's got averages 14, 3 and 3, shooting 41% from 3. He's just a great rotation guy off that Celtic bench. And I mean the Celtics they've struggled as of late, but they've just had a really solid season overall. And Pritchard has been great relief off the bench coming in for, Tatum and Brown.
yeah. Totally agree. I have Peyton Pritchard too. He's been great. He's been great off that Celtics bench. I mean, they're the best in the East, so he's been
Hmm.
shooting lights out. One of the better 3-point shooters this year, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, but I also had Russell Westbrook at two, just because I'm a big fan of his, and he's been doing well and over there in Denver. And I also had Amen Thompson, who's been playing great in Houston. I
Hmm.
mean, that Houston really has something going. All that coaching staff has all their guys playing really well. So
Hmm. Yeah,
yeah,
and with Thompson, he's even cracked the starting lineup at times because Fred Van Vliet has not been putting up insane numbers this year. And when Amen Thompson starts, they're like 9-1 or something. And Fred was out the other night for like personal reasons, and Amen went for like 25 and 15 or something like that. Yeah, he's
yeah,
been really strong off the bench. He's also a candidate for most improved, in
yeah.
my
He's really
opinion.
improved.
But yeah, he's been really, really strong. But for Pritchard, when you're shooting like 41% from three and you're not one of the guys who just comes off the bench just to shoot threes, you have other aspects to your game. That's invaluable. That's like one of the best six men in the league. If you can come and put that up from three and still play make and still get 3 boards a game and not only just shoot threes, I mean that's super important for that Celtic team.
Yeah, totally agree. He's been
Uh,
amazing.
mhm. Then for coach of the year, I know he probably won't win, and this might just be because I'm a Rockets fan, but I went with Ime Udoka because his philosophy with that Rockets roster, on paper, that roster is not crazy, but he's got them playing at an elite level defensively. Their shooting will come eventually. They're not even a great offensive production shooting team. They just play such sound defense, and they've got Thompson and Eason who play great defense, and Şengün inside, Jalen Green putting up a lot of numbers. But he Udoka's really taken a team that was not good at all, and pretty much with the same players turned them into an elite team. And it's to the point where they've had so many top five draft picks that you got players like Cam Whitmore and Reed Shepard who aren't even getting playing time, but could be stars. We just don't know yet. So yeah, that's what do you say?
Yeah, I actually picked Ime too. I mean, he's got that whole team playing really well, and they're the second in the West right now, just playing really good
Hmm.
basketball. So I put him there too.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. He probably won't win just because they won't finish with the best record. I mean, unless they go on an insane run.
Yeah.
But I think he deserves it in my opinion.
Yeah. I
Um,
agree.
best, yeah, best offensive player. I gave Shea his flowers for this one. He's a prolific scorer. He can get it done. Some people say he's a free throw merchant, but I don't know about that. He 31 and a half points a game. It's pretty undeniable. Best offensive scorer. You want the ball in his hands in any situation. So yeah, I just went with Shea.
Oh yeah, of course. I went with Shea too. Um, I watch a lot of their games, and he's so efficient. He hits really tough shots, and this year his three ball's gotten really better. I feel like so. I mean, he's one of the
Mm,
best finishers in the league, I believe. He's got mid
yeah, I
range.
agree.
He's shooting threes now. He's pretty electric, fun to watch. Pretty clutch
Hmm.
too. Clutch offensively.
Yeah. Hmm.
And then I also at my number two for that award I went with Giannis just because he's shooting so well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
he's been great.
very
Yeah,
efficient from the floor, and on a Bucks team that has really had an up and down season. Because
yeah,
when they started off really sluggish with a very bad start, and everyone was calling for change, but then NBA Cup came around and they really turned it around. They won the NBA Cup, and since then they've kind of been on a roll, which has been
yeah,
nice.
totally.
And
Yeah,
they've kind of climbed back into it because they started what, like 6-15 or 6-16 or
yeah,
something
they
like
start
that.
really slow. Yeah,
Hmm. So yeah, and then best defensive player, I just went
Mhm.
Wemby again, with a second to Tari Eason. Er, yeah, Tari Eason. He's in the limited minutes that he plays for the Rockets. Him and Thompson, they call them the Terror Twins. They are insane. And I also put Amen Thompson. He should be first team all defense. He's like lights out. He had like a game with like 6 blocks the other day. He's a pest one on one. And I think when his shooting game comes along, he will be an elite player in this league.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I agree. I mean, I gave it to Wemby too, just because he's such a
Right.
defensive havoc. He's just so
Menace.
good
Yeah.
on that end of the ball. Um, I also think Anthony Davis is. I mean, when he's healthy, he plays well on defense. Just he gets blocks, rebounds. Um,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
Dyson Daniels, as I said earlier, is a defensive force.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So then, best all-around player, I went Jokic just because of he's so sound in every area. He shoots, he rebounds, he assists. Some of his passes are just crazy. He's one of the best passing big men we've ever seen. Best all-around player. But that doesn't mean MVP, you know. Best all-around
Yeah,
player doesn't exactly correlate because he's not, the Nuggets are not at that level right now, which is kind of surprising because, they're probably going to make the playoffs, but they're not as dominant as Nuggets teams we've seen in the past. So yeah, but yeah, I give Jokic the best all-around player so far this season.
yeah, totally. I went with Jokic too. He's almost averaging a triple double, and he gets steals, he gets blocks, he gets rebounds, he scores, he play
Hmm.
makes. He's just yeah, he's pretty good at basketball for sure.
Yeah, and it's like
Yeah.
a whole team basically runs through him, and I feel like that's different from like Shea, because I feel like Shea is probably the obvious number two, but like when Shea's on the bench, they can still produce with like the offense running through J-Dub or the offense running through somebody else. But when Jokic really is on the floor, it kind of runs through Westbrook and it's kind of clunky, and they don't really have that elite level, just dynamic scorer, rebounder, passer inside, and their offense kind of just breaks down when he's not playing.
Yeah,
So
totally.
yeah. And then best 3-point shooter, I kind of went with an odd pick. I took AJ Green from the Bucks.
Okay.
He is that's all his contract basically is you come in and you shoot threes and then you check out. I mean, he's shooting 44% from three, so he's doing his job very well. It's very funny to see a guy who literally is only there to shoot threes, and that's the only reason I took him because I think it's just a funny pick.
Yeah, that's great. Um, yeah, I thought AJ Green was playing receiver for the Bengals still. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
I know.
he's
I
out in.
was like, since when is AJ Green a white guy who shoots corner threes?
Yeah,
But
that's great.
yeah, he's working it, man.
I went
Mm,
with Steph with Curry. Classic. I mean,
hmm
he's still doing it at his age, and he's efficient. He's
Yeah,
shooting like 40% from three.
yeah.
Uh,
You
Peyton
can
Pritchard's
you
been
can
great from
never go,
three.
right. You can never go wrong with Curry. I mean, he's
Can't
always
go
going to be
wrong
able to
with
do
Curry.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. hmm
LaMelo's been good from three too. I mean, he hits a lot, but he shoots a lot. He's not really that efficient, but he's having a fun year. He's fun to watch.
He's rec league basketball player. I mean,
Yeah, he
he
is.
just makes he's just out there having fun, and
Yeah,
you can't really blame him. I mean,
yeah,
why play the game if you won't have fun?
yeah,
And
for
they're not a
sure.
very good team, but you know, and his brother's got the best song in the world right now, so
Yeah.
yeah.
He went three for three,
So
LeVar.
I know LeVar is really looking good. We got to
Yeah,
get that one v one versus Michael Jordan set up.
yeah,
See if we can beat him.
yeah,
So best dunker, I went Jalen Green. He has some insane posters for a guy his size. The who like he put Anthony Simmons on a poster.
Mhm.
He put uh I can't remember the other dude, but he just posted the hell out of somebody this year. And his dunks are always super electric to watch. And other guys, I mean, LeBron still doing dunking at like 40 is crazy to me. So I put
yeah,
him in there. And yeah, those are my dunkers, best dunkers of the year.
yeah. I mean, I have LeBron because he just did a windmill on Derek Lively at 40 years old. Pretty insane. Um,
hmm
he's still doing it. LeBron's great, and I also got Ja just because when he's on the court, I think he's one of the most athletic players in the NBA, and he can really slam
hmm
it. He's very athletic.
It was crazy because in 2019, with that draft class with Zion going at one,
Yeah,
it really seems now like they probably should have taken Ja at one,
yeah,
even with Zion being that highly touted of a prospect. Like he was one of the best prospects we've seen out of college in a while, and
yeah,
Has been better than him,
yeah,
which is crazy to say
for
because
sure.
coming out, he was like a consensus first overall pick, and now
Yeah,
you're starting to question like, yeah, should they have taken Ja, which they
I
probably
know.
should have.
Yeah, Zion was supposed to
Mm,
be the next LeBron.
yeah.
And he's always hurt. It sucks to see.
hmm hmm So I'm gonna skip down to best rebounder, which I went with Domantas Sabonis. He's been very strong rebounding. He's averaging like 14 rebounds a game, which is wild. And that
Yeah,
Kings team, they've kind of turned it around here after they fired Mike Brown. Doug Christie has come in and played or coached very well with the emphasis on shooting more threes and getting more offensive rebounds. They're back up above 500. They beat the Rockets in a very close game the other night, but they've played very well. And Sabonis is kind of the big guy inside. He's averaging a double double with 14 rebounds, obviously. So he's played very well for sure.
yeah, totally. I had Sabonis number one too, just because I think He's top rebounder right now in the league, statistically.
Hmm.
And I put Jokic up there. He gets a lot of boards.
Yeah.
Great at
I,
rebounding. I mean, Wemby
yeah.
at 7'4", you
Let's keep.
better be a good rebounder. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I also put Josh Hart on here because
Oh yeah.
Josh Hart, for his size, I mean, he's one of the best rebounders. Like, if you want to call it like pound for or height rebounding, like he's a guard getting this many rebounds is
Yeah.
crazy because he got like 17 rebounds in that overtime game like a week ago. He got
Yeah.
like another 12 rebounds tonight. It's crazy. He just has a nose for the ball. He's one of
For
the
sure.
best like guard rebounders probably in history.
Yeah.
Just you think across his time with the Pelicans up to now with the Knicks, he's
Yeah.
been great for sure.
For sure.
And then best shot blocker, I think it's pretty obvious. It's got to be Wemby. I also put Jaren Jackson Jr. up there. He's
Mhm.
always very strong on defense, very strong shot blocking presence. I mean, other than Wemby, there's you got to pick somebody. So I went with Jaren Jackson, Triple J.
Yeah. I went with Wemby too because you got it. I mean, he's averaging 4 blocks per game.
Right.
Um, I would put Shed up there if he is Holmgren, if he's healthy. He's a great shot blocker.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, Anthony Davis, great at shot blocking, always has been.
Mhm.
Derek Lively's, I think he's a good shot blocker.
Yeah.
J can do it. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. So for best team performance, I put the Clippers beat the Nets by like 50 or 60 the other night.
Hmm.
And that was pretty much the only like big blowout of the year that I could come up with. Also, the Thunder destroyed the Cavaliers the other day or
Yeah,
like a week ago. That was pretty crazy because that was supposed to be a good game, but they just completely dismantled them. So I think I
yeah.
might give that one team performance just because Clippers over the Nets. The Nets aren't a very good team, but the Thunder and Cavs are, I mean, like finals favorites. So to see the Thunder roll in there and just completely pick them apart was it was a very impressive game. Without obviously like without Chet,
Yeah,
what Isaiah Hartenstein has been able to do has been insane, and to only think that this team is playing this way without Chet has been it's crazy what they're going to be able to do when he's healthy.
I know when he is healthy. Hardenstein just got injured though, so they have nobody. They have
Mm,
no big right now. I think
I
I'm
gotta
pretty sure they
trade
beat
for Pet.
Cleveland without Hardenstein too. They didn't have Hardenstein or Chet, so
Oh wow.
yeah,
See, that's even better. It's a testament to they could play
yeah,
small and still destroy a team with Jared Allen.
yeah. And Mobley,
So
two bigs, two of the
yeah.
best bigs.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. So for most or the most surprising team, I'm gonna just go with the Rockets because I don't think anyone picked them to be this good, and they're second in the West, 28 and 14. Insane start. I mean, they're second in the West, and if this holds, like this will be their first playoff appearance since like James Harden era, James Harden, Russell Westbrook era, which I know as a Rockets fan we all miss those days, but
yeah,
like they've been a very surprising team as we talked about. We talked about E-Man, we talked about their defense, but all around they're probably the most surprising team to this point.
for sure. I picked three teams for this. So I have Houston at one for sure. They've been very surprising. I don't think anyone knew how that they would be second in the West for sure and how good they'd be. And they're playing
Hmm.
really well. I got Memphis up there too. I think the Grizzlies have been playing great. Um,
Yeah.
I mean they're third in the West. It's pretty crazy. They haven't been. I feel like they haven't been playing the best ball in the last couple years, and they've been really playing well this year. And I also have Cleveland, who's probably one of the best teams in the league, and I didn't expect them to be this good. Yeah,
I 100%, I agree 100%, especially with Memphis because it's not like they added anybody new. This has been the team that they've had. Jalen Wells has been an addition. Obviously, Zach Edey's been an addition,
yeah,
but they've kind of had that core of Bain and Morant and Triple J for a couple seasons now. and they're finally all healthy and they're playing together, and it's been really cool to see. They've played like they've balled out. Like Aldama off the bench has been good. Luke Kennard has put in good minutes off the bench. So they really have a strong up and down lineup. And I also agree with the Cavs. I think they're finally starting to play to that potential that they have had. I feel like they've been disappointing in past years, but when you have like Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Mobley, Allen, and all the guys that they have, I feel like they probably should have been playing this way last year or the year before, but they're finally starting to come into their own, which has been good to see. Because you never want to
Yeah,
see a team
totally.
with that much talent. Yeah. It's kind of like the Brooklyn Nets with that big three a few years ago. They just never reached their potential. I feel like Cleveland is finally reaching that potential that they have.
Yeah, they're definitely reaching it. I mean, yeah, you got some of the best guards, and then two of the best big duo. It's been great.
Hmm. Yeah. So then most disappointing team, I think we've talked about them already, the 76ers. Very, very disappointing. You've made the playoffs the last, what, like 2 or 3 years, and now you're just in a terrible position at 15 and 26. Embiid can't stay healthy. I mean, he's getting injured in pregame warmups. Like, what are we doing? Jared
Yeah.
McCain, very promising, but he gets hurt. Maxey, Paul George has not played like the fruit, like the money they've given him. He has not played up to that contract value. And I mean, you got Gershon Yabusele starting, like a guy you just picked up off France's national team.
Mhm.
And I mean, no disrespect to him, but he's not like a bona fide NBA star yet. Yeah, so
Yeah,
they're definitely the most disappointing in my opinion.
for sure. I have Philly up there as one of the most disappointing. They've been pretty bad. Um, I think the Timberwolves have been disappointing too. I mean, they did the a strange trade this offseason. I thought it was a strange trade at the time, and it doesn't seem to be working that well.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, for a team that was like Final Four, like they're up there last year. They're playing really good basketball, and they just haven't played to their potential. I think the you gotta be disappointed too if you're like a Suns fan. I think they've been disappointing. You got
Hmm.
KD, one of the best of all time, and they just can't. They don't win consistently.
It's sad to see. I mean, Katie and Book, you would think that with that duo that they would be putting up better numbers, but they just aren't.
Yeah,
And I think that I would honestly argue that they would be playing better if they still had DeAndre Ayton. I think they really need a big man to run through, like facilitate some of that offense because Book and KD, it's like cool, you got two really prolific scorers, but you don't really have anything else. You don't have an inside presence to where you can play inside out from there because Book's an elite three-point shooter. Obviously, KD can score from anywhere, but
yeah, totally,
you don't have you don't have the big guy to really space. So they're kind of jammed up and not performing very well. But you were
totally.
talking about the Grizzlies. That kind of leads into the biggest trade acquisition. I went Cat for the Knicks. He's played very well in the games that he's played while he's been healthy. He's been great. I think the Knicks are one of my sleeper picks to make a deep playoff run. Their lineup is just so stacked. But the trade was Cat and James Najee for Randall DiVincenzo, Bates Diop, and a first round pick. Cat's averaging 25 points, 14 boards, 3 assists. So
Yeah,
I think they've definitely won that trade so far. Julius Randle has not played good.
no,
DiVincenzo, I mean, DiVincenzo's DiVincenzo. He's going to be a good
yeah,
role player off the bench.
yeah,
So it never made sense to me, a trade for the Timberwolves, and it's kind of coming to fruition that it didn't make sense and it doesn't make sense.
totally.
But I think great trade for the Knicks. You give up a guy who's always been hurt and Julius Randle never stay healthy. And Dante DiVincenzo is kind of interchangeable for all those guys
Yeah,
uh,
that's a role
in
guy.
the starting lineup. And you only gave up one first round pick, like that's perfect. They
Yeah,
completely won that trade, in my
I
opinion.
totally agree. I mean, I think Cat's been playing some of the best basketball of his career. He's been so good this year. I think they
Hmm.
won that trade big time, and I think it puts them to that like next level of they can compete for a championship for sure. Definitely in the
Hmm.
East, they can definitely make it
Hmm.
to the finals.
they've definitely gone all in too, because last year getting OG and then bringing in Bridges and now bringing in Cat, like they've completely flipped that lineup on its head and built almost a super team. When all those guys are clicking on the same night, that team really can't be stopped.
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
you see the talent that they have. Brunson is elite. We talked about Hart's rebounding, and what they
Yeah,
really didn't have was that healthy big man last year because of Randall being hurt all the time, and
yeah,
they let Hartenstein go. But
yeah.
yeah, they've been very solid. That was a great trade.
Totally agree.
Kind of speaking of Hartenstein, he was my pick for best free agent signing
Okay,
because he's
yeah,
averaging 12, and 4. I mean, obviously he just got hurt, but other than that, he's played lights out, filling in for Chet. I mean, he was kind of signed to be a rotation guy, but now that he's been starting and been producing, so I think that was a very valuable find in free agency for the Thunder.
yeah. I wanted to talk about a couple guys here, but I had Hardenstein on my list. He's been really great. Especially when Chet went out, he really helped us win and go on that big winning streak. And
Hmm.
it's gonna be fun to see once they're both healthy what they do together. I think we haven't seen that yet. They haven't played a single game together, so it's gonna be fun
Hmm.
once they get together.
Hmm.
I also think Buddy Hield was actually like a good signing for Golden State. He's been playing really good for them, and
Hmm.
he's sort of had like a revival in his career. I feel like um,
Yeah.
Buddy Hield's been great. I think Chris Paul has been great for the Spurs and Wemby. They don't win
Hmm.
much games, but I think it's just really good for Wemby to have that like point guard that can sort of run the offense and he can
Hmm.
develop a little bit better through him. Good like a good mentor too for the NBA. And
Hmm.
then um I also had I had Westbrook because he's been playing good on Denver.
Hmm.
Um
I would totally agree. I feel like Chris Paul, that is like the perfect place that he could have gone because you talked about the mentorship with Wemby. He's also mentoring guys like Castle and all the young guys who play for San Antonio and obviously playing for Pop, although he's not coaching right now. But he's just a great veteran, and he's not going to go to like a contender and be like a prolific bench guy. He starts. He's going to start. He's going to get Wemby his touches. He's going to feed the rookies. He's going to facilitate that offense, give him the inside of the game. And I agree with Buddy Hield. I mean, you put him with Curry, two of the most prolific three-point scorers in history. And if they had been together both in their primes, that would have been wild. If like you added Buddy Hield to that Warriors team with like Clay and Draymond, that would have
oh
been
yeah.
wild.
Yeah,
But
totally.
it's definitely cool to see, Curry and Hield on the court together.
Yeah, for sure. I forgot about Castle too. I mean, yeah, Chris Paul has definitely taught him
Hmm.
a lot. I mean, he's been
Hmm.
playing great. He could be up there for that Rookie of the Year race too. He's playing
Yeah,
really
I
good
agree.
basketball
If
in San
if
Antonio.
if he has a really strong back half of the season, I think he could easily take it because it's really
Yeah,
up for grabs at this point with
yeah.
McCain being out of it. And I feel like the highest scoring rookie is averaging like 12 a game. So if you can put together a stretch of good games, you can easily, I think anyone really could jump up and grab it. Like if Edie has a strong second half, he could take it. It really
Yeah,
all depends.
totally.
And yeah, and speaking of that, best rookie performance, I gave it to McCain. He went for 34, 10, and 2 against Cleveland earlier this year. Just crazy, just lights out. I mean, you don't really hear about rookies dropping 35 and 10 unless they're like top 5 picks, and he wasn't. So it's been very cool. I hope he gets healthy, and I hope he stays a good scorer and a good player because he was very fun to watch at Duke, and he's been fun to watch so far in Philly.
Totally. I gave it to McCain too for that performance. I mean, he looked
Hmm.
he looked like the best player on that court, honestly, that game. So it
Hmm.
was cool to see from a rookie, especially so early into the year as a rookie.
Right.
I mean, it's impressive.
Yeah, and although the Sixers aren't that good right now, I think that their future is still very bright. I feel like they should move on from Embiid. I know it's kind of crazy to say, but he's become such a liability contract wise, health wise, that if you trade him for some picks and maybe some players, you can build around Maxey and McCain and Kelly Oubre and all those guys. And I think that while I did, you know, talk some smack about Yabusele, I feel like he could be a decent player. He's played well in the minutes that he's gotten, kind of career revival here in Philly. But
Yeah,
yeah,
totally.
so
I
the
like Philly has good. They have a good future. I think Maxey in a couple years could be like one of the best guards in the league. I really like him, and then McCain. They can build a good thing over there.
100%, 100%. So we're gonna go to biggest upset game, and early in the season, the Wizards actually beat the Knicks 118-117, which the Wizards, I mean, you want to talk about a bad year. Let's talk about the Washington Wizards. Not very strong at all. Like, yeah, just bad, not good at all. But I mean, they beat the Knicks once, so nice. They had like what, like
Yeah,
7 wins right now, so
yeah,
that's pretty. Yeah.
for sure. I'd say anytime the Wizards win a game or the Pelicans win a game, it's a huge upset. They're pretty
Hmm.
bad teams.
Yeah.
I didn't really have a specific game.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I know Detroit sort of upset Houston last night, so
Yeah. Yeah. Houston. Well, what happened last night was they just got out energied. They
yeah,
just really Houston just really did not play a good game.
yeah,
But yeah, it was a twin battle. That was pretty fun to watch.
yeah, yeah.
But best individual performance in a single game.
Hmm.
Jokic went for 56, 16, and 8 in 39 minutes against Washington on December 7th. There were higher scoring games. I just think that anytime you can score 56 points but also have 16 boards and 8 assists is pretty wild. He's not getting outside of his game and he's still putting up these crazy numbers. Like he doesn't have to say to himself, "Okay, I'm going to just score today and score 56." He's like, it just happened. He scores 56. He's also got 16 boards. He's also got 8 dimes. So that's why I picked him. And in 39 minutes too is also crazy.
Yeah, totally. I gave the best performance to Giannis. He had 59 points, 14 rebounds, 3 blocks. And the crazy thing is he went 16 for 17 from the free throw line, which Giannis not a great free throw shooter,
Right.
so that's pretty cool. Um, and then I mean Wemby's had some crazy games. He had the 30 point 10 block game this
Yeah.
year.
And then he
Um,
dropped 50 too, right? He dropped 50 points in a game this year, I feel like.
did he do Wemby?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
did.
think he did.
Okay, yeah. I know he had
So
like 40 something the other day. But
his his he's gonna be a great. I think he's gonna at the end of the day when he retires, I think he's going to be one of the greatest players of all time.
oh yeah,
With
for
his
sure.
size, his defensive ability, his shooting, and he's only 21 and under a coach like Pop, if Pop can like get back to coaching, I know he's out right now with, he
Mhm.
had a health scare, which wish him all the best, but
Yeah.
like if he can get Pop in there, really coach him up because like Pop coached Tim Duncan, one of the best like power
Yeah.
forwards of all time. If he can like get him on those fundamentals, Wemby's gonna be so dangerous, so
Totally.
dangerous.
Totally agree. I think
Yeah.
Wemby at that when it's all said and done will most likely be up there in that, top the big three of all time
I
for
agree.
sure.
Yeah. And I
Also,
also, because
yeah.
last year when they were doing the lottery, Houston was in that lottery. Like they were one of the worst teams, so they could have gone up and gotten him. And
Yeah.
I wanted him, but now at this point, I'm kind of glad that they didn't get him because if he was on the Rockets, it would not be good because they wouldn't be able to play through their other players. And Şengün is good enough as a center to where he can have his nights, but if you got a guy like Wemby, you're gonna feel that pressure to feed him every night and make him like the best player on the court. And I'm actually glad that they didn't get him. As crazy as that sounds, I know he's as I mean, we just said he's going to be one of the greatest of all time. But I
Yeah.
think the core of course, I got to make it about the Rockets. But yeah, they have a great core. So
No,
that's gonna bring us to the end of that. I want to get your predictions for like who you think is gonna make a deep run, who you think's gonna win, and then who you think's gonna like win MVP.
okay. Um, deep runs. I mean, I think Thunder. I think the Thunder are gonna win it all.
Hmm.
I'm pretty biased. I am a Thunder fan, but I think this
Hmm.
is their year. I think they can finally do it. I mean, especially if we get Hardenstein healthy, Shet healthy. Those are two bigs
Hmm.
there, and they're winning without them too right now.
Right.
And they're arguably the best team in basketball currently. And you
Yeah.
have the superstar in Shea, who I think will win MVP.
Right.
And then
Right. Yeah.
you have J Dub, who can just he runs that team when Shea's on the bench. They have so many players that are just really good. They're deep too.
Yeah, Lou Dort. I mean, Lou Dort is like crazy on defense, and
Oh
he's
yeah,
not even like even ever brought up in conversation when you talk about. And then you're gonna get the other Jalen Williams back soon. So that team is just loaded. It's just loaded.
yeah,
Yeah, I that's my pick for uh, NBA Finals unless they're unhealthy. That's the only scenario in which I'd see them not winning is
totally.
if they have one or more injuries. I think Rockets will make a deep run. I just don't think they're there yet. They don't really have that star player who game 7 can drop like 45 points. Like they don't have that James Harden guy. They have a bunch of really good guys who can take turns, but they don't really have the guy to where you can say, "All right, go give me 45 and 10 and win us this series." Jalen Green is well on his way to being that star. He's just not there yet, in my opinion. He's had a great, I mean, he won Conference Player of the week last week or maybe of the month, but he's been very solid. Rockets make a deep run. I think Knicks, as we talked about, will make a deep run. They'll be good. I think anytime Jokic is in the playoffs, he's dangerous. So even if they like limp into the playoffs, and it's crazy how weak the Eastern Conference is. There are going to be some terrible teams who make the playoffs. I just wanted
Yeah,
to talk
totally.
about that because like there's like some 500 or even under 500 teams. Like the Bulls are in contention for a play-in spot, which is just wild because they've been
Yeah,
so terrible.
yeah,
But yeah, those are my picks for like deep run and all that. But
yeah.
yeah, you got anything else to add?
Well, I think my deep run team would be in the East. I think Milwaukee's really. I think they'll make it pretty far.
Mhm.
I think we could see a rematch of the NBA Cup, the Milwaukee versus Thunder. Thunder winning
Yeah,
five. They beat
yeah.
Giannis. They do it
So
finally.
your pick is Thunder in 5. All right.
Thunder in
Yeah, I
five.
would go Thunder in 6. I think if it's an elite Eastern team, they'll be able to push them to a 6 game. Just because some like there are nights where the Thunder don't have it. Like I don't know if they lost last night, but they were losing or 2 nights ago maybe. But
They
I
lost to the
I also
Mavs two
shaded.
nights ago. Yep.
Yeah, Shay didn't play though, but I still think that, I mean, obviously, I don't think they're a very good team. I don't think they're on that tier where they're just going to sweep everybody, but I feel like they'll be able to win a series like the in 6. But
Yeah.
I think they will like sweep a few series before then, though.
Yeah.
They're such a potent offense and I mean, they're a great defense too. Yeah, they're a very strong team all around. And what's scary is they're like all so young, so
Yeah.
they'll be here unless, egos get in the way. They're gonna be here for a while.
Yeah, I totally agree. They look like they have fun out there, but I mean,
Hmm.
there's a lot of really good young teams. So the NBA, I think the future is bright for sure for all these teams.
And you gotta hope because I'm an NBA fan, but it's kind of been hard to tune in and watch. There's like before this season, I feel like there's just not a lot to tune in and watch. Like
Yeah,
if
totally.
there's a college basketball game on, and there's an NBA game on, and like that college basketball team is ranked or something, I'm gonna watch the college because it's just more entertaining at this point.
Yeah.
It's more of a team game. It's faster. There isn't all this ego and stupidity going on. And yeah. Oh, also, I want to just touch on briefly on college, talk about like Cooper Flag. I think he has potential to be insanely great. I mean, he scored 42 points the other night, and
Yeah.
as an 18-year-old who still should be in high school, it's wild. I think best draft prospects since Zion, maybe even since LeBron, we could go there. I'm not going to go there, but people have had that comparison. He's very strong, and Wizards will be nice having him if they get there, if they keep their tank going.
Yeah, for
But yeah,
sure.
what are your thoughts on Cooper Flag?
I agree. I mean, I did see that he scored 40 points the other day in college. I mean, that's pretty insane. In the NBA, you see
Yeah,
that you see that often, and you're just like, oh, 40 points, it happens. But
right.
in college, to score 40, that's a different level. Um, he's dominating. He's dominating at Duke, so he's definitely gonna be. I think he has a bright future in the NBA for sure.
hmm And another thing I just wanted to talk about for college is the fact that Rutgers has two top 5 lottery picks on
Yeah,
their team and
yeah,
they won't even make the NCAA tournament is
yeah,
wild. Like Ace Bailey is a dog, Dylan Harper is a dog. And the fact that they won't even make, I mean, barring something insane, barring a crazy, like beating a bunch of ranked teams, they're not even going to make the dance.
yeah,
And it's insane to think that you'll probably have two NBA superstars. I mean, that's kind of getting out ahead of it, but two top 5 picks on your college team, and you don't even make the big dance. I mean, something is seriously wrong with that program. To
yeah.
be able
That's pretty
to
crazy.
one land them and then not even have the team, it's wild.
It's
But
hard to
like,
win
yeah,
games in the
Dylan
Big Ten.
Harper,
Yeah,
I know, yeah.
yeah,
I mean, you're seeing a team like Indiana who they have like a $2 million court. They bought all their guys in the transfer portal, and they're to Indiana standards not having a good year. They got
yeah,
destroyed by Illinois. They got destroyed by Iowa.
yeah,
It's crazy. Big Ten is a very, very good basketball conference. Like even today, Ohio State beat Purdue today in Mackey Arena. So
yeah,
very tough conference. And I'm very
yeah.
excited for March Madness. That'll be
Oh man,
awesome.
it's my favorite time of the year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You got anything else you want to add, Tyler?
I do not. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you for
Well,
having me
that'll
on.
be it for, yeah, no problem. That'll be it for us. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time on the Frank Delano Show.